1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome into another season and the first episode of our 2026-2027 academic year, and our first stop on the Talkin G-MAC Tailgate Tour as we make our way down to Owensboro, Kentucky to visit with Tyrone Young, head coach of the Kentucky Wesleyan Panthers. Coach, thanks so much for taking time out of your very busy fall camp schedule to talk a little Panther football with us.
Man, thanks for having me. I love being on this and appreciate you guys making us first.
Well, I want to get right down to it. You're in your fifth season here at Kentucky Wesleyan, and what is fall camp like as you have established this program at Kentucky Wesleyan, as you have made this really your own? You've seen, a whole host of classes come through, but what is it like this time of year when you get back on campus and you get all the guys back on campus and you start putting helmets on and all of that? What is this feeling like as a head coach?
To be honest, it's one of those things to where I think sometimes we as head coaches kind of take it for granted that we're in these positions that we're in. But this year has been phenomenal. To hear you say year 5 as a head coach is absolutely crazy. It's just something like you do it so much. I say you lose track of time when you're doing what you love. And I love what I do and I love where I do it at. So this year has been, really, really good for us in camp. We've been here since the 31st of July. So we've been in with each other for almost 2 weeks now, 2 weeks on Friday. And so our guys have been able to really get to know each other, really build some bonds. I think that was the one thing that was missing in our team last year. And so, I'm really excited about where these guys are right now.
Well, when you get to fall camp and you get everyone together and you start spending so much time together, when it comes to this 2026 camp, what is something that's been the focal point for you as head coach to set the tone early, to get the guys bought in? There's always new faces, there's always some returners, but what is it like and how important is it to set that tone early? And maybe what has been one of those focal points that you like to share with us from this year's fall camp?
So the biggest thing, and like, I'm glad you asked that. So it's about a 50-50 split with new guys and guys returning. So the focal point of our team, like we call it the rooted word. The rooted word of our season this year is love, right? So we're being intentional about how we love each other. We're being intentional about how we talk to each other, intentional about how we practice and play for each other. And if you truly love somebody, it's not looked at as a sacrifice. It's just looked at as accountability. And so our guys are really understanding what that means. And the last couple of practices have been very spirited in that regard of loving each other because they've been super competitive practice. But it's not like the competitive where you get guys going back and forth. Like our team has a good foundation, but they really push each other in practice, and so they're taking heed of that. Our mantra, our war cry is dig in, and so that's discipline, intelligence, and grit. And they are, encompassing on what those 3 pillars of our program looks like. And so, yeah, as long as they keep loving each other, it's going to be a great year for them.
I think this is the time of year when you really start to see some of those leaders come out, whether it's guys that are new to the program, whether it's guys that have been around and they know what a Coach Young program looks like, they know what a Kentucky Wesleyan fall camp looks like. But what has that been like as you've been with these guys for a couple weeks now, and how important are some of those vocal leaders in this day and age, in this time when there is a lot of moving and shaking and there is the transfer portal and you do see a lot of turnover between teams, no matter how successful someone might be. So, how important is establishing some of those leaders at this point in fall camp as you get ready in a couple weeks to kick things off?
I think it's huge. We call our guys generals just because, they lead us. And so that regard, our generals have been doing a great job. Hayden McLaurin, and most people don't look at it as a long snapper, as somebody who leads. He's leading the spiritual aspect of our team. He does a really good job with that. Rylan George, it goes on and on. Dom Hollis, Josh Noble, Mason Bell. Those guys have all, stepped to the forefront, as well as Armand Boswell and Peyton Stafford, and all those guys on offense and defense and special teams. I think, you talk about 5 years of being a head coach. This is the most buy-in that we've had collectively since the year we went 4-7. So a couple years ago, where a couple ball bounces here and there, you have a really good season. But that team was really, really bought in, and that this team reminds me of that team. So that was a really good year for us, and guys played for each other. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing how that comes to fruition on Saturdays. Well, the first Thursday, but then Saturdays after.
Well, I know it's still early, and I'm sure there are still a lot of question marks when it comes to personnel and starting positions and things like that. But, I want to talk a little bit about both sides of the ball. And, let's talk about the offense. Let's talk about the quarterback room. Let's talk about some of those returners, some of those guys that you're looking to step up on that side of the ball, and maybe some of those people that have been able to come in. You guys brought 64 in on signing day. Who are some of those people that you've seen so far that have really been able to step up in fall camp, who or maybe starting to make a name for themselves, who Kentucky Wesleyan fans might not be aware of at this point?
Right. And so if we're talking about offense first, you look up front. We have three guys that started for us that are returning. Armand, Peyton, and Braxton Ryan. They're doing a really good job of leading those guys. And we got some younger guys, some newer guys in with that group, and they look like they've been playing college football for forever. And then we got our starting tight end back, Elijah Hawkins. He's having a really good camp. Our running back room is unbelievable. We got 4 or 5, maybe 6 guys in there that can go with, Dom Hollis still leading the way in that room. He's another returner. And then we have Cam Brogan and Will Ray and JT Sims all back at wide receiver. And then you add that, CJ Jackson from Texas has come up and he is lightning in a bottle. So we have experience all over our offense. And then, quarterback room, it's a 3-man, 4-man race right now in that room with some older guys and some younger guys. And I'm excited to see, who steps to the forefront of that. And then you talk about defensively, up front on the defensive line, we have 7 out of the 9 guys who played for us last year returning. We return our middle linebacker, Josh Noble. We brought in a great transfer, Shiloh Jones from Texas as well. And so, he's doing phenomenal. Jeremy Walters is another linebacker returner for us. He's doing well. Nehemiah Askew, Mason Bell, Dre Raven. So we return about 8 starters on both sides of the ball. We're super excited about that. And then in special teams, I think, we got bazooka leg, Jacob DeShields. He can punt the ball a country mile. So we're excited about him. And then Maston Joyner's getting his first opportunity to be the guy at kicker. And Hayden McLaurin is probably the best long snapper in the G-MAC. That's just is what it is. He takes his craft very serious. But yeah, no, we're excited. We return a lot as a head coach. It's nice that we have so much experience coming back. So those guys that are new to our program are getting led in the right directions, because the guys who, how it is in small school football, the guys who stay at the place they love really pour a lot into it. So when you got a guy like Rylan George and Josh Noble and Mason Bell leading the way, the rest of the guys just, take heed to that. And so I'm excited. I'm really, really excited on both sides of the ball. As practices have been very, like I said earlier, practices have been very back and forth. And so that is the makings of a really good team. So I'm excited about that. I keep saying I'm excited because I am. Like, I don't want that to come off like, oh man, it's just coach speak. No, it's not coach speak. I am genuinely excited about our season because, I seen the preseason poll. That doesn't really matter. But at the end of the day, you got to line up on a Saturday. So I'm excited to see what this group, this team, this brotherhood of kids, puts together for the W.
Well, you talked about some of those returners. I want to talk a little bit about the defense a little bit more. I feel like they really were able to show some grit there down the stretch last
Mhm.
season, and to be able to get some of those guys back. And, how do you build on that front seven? How do you continue some of that success that you did see late in the season, whether it came out as a win or whatever it might be. But what you were able to see on the field as far as success on both sides of the field, how important is that on the defensive side with some of those returners?
It's huge because they know they can do it, right? Like, I don't believe that our conference gets the respect that it deserves. The GMAC is, man, I mean, top to bottom, our teams are good. And they're big, they're strong, they're fast. So with our defense having success against those teams, it takes the boogeyman syndrome away. You know what I mean? Like, everybody likes to make boogeyman out of people that play football. Like, at the end of the day, you've lined up, you've did it, let's go do it again. And so I'm excited about that in that regard. And, those guys having that experience bodes well for us. It bodes really well for us because they know what to expect during the games, and that's how they practice. And so with our guys practicing at the tempo that they're practicing at right now, we're not out there more than 2 hours right now. because there's no need to be. They get in, they get out, they get their work done. They're very professional about how they're working. So and that goes to the question you just asked, like, how is that so? Because they've seen it and they've done it. Now it's time to have success with seeing and doing.
You mentioned a little bit about special teams. I have to ask you about Jacob DeShields. He made quite the name for
My
himself
guy.
last year, and a Player of the Week honor and things here. But I think sometimes the special teams folks, and you've mentioned long snapping and all of that. I feel like sometimes they don't get a lot of love. They're kind of the forgotten side of the ball, but they are very important. They can flip the
Yes.
field. They can put you in great positions. And so, how is having Jacob back and the experience that he has as an upperclassman really help propel you on both sides of the ball?
I mean, I'll put it like this, Miss Katie. Jacob is one of the greatest human beings on earth. Like, he's always like, if you need something, he's there for you. If you don't need something, he's there for you. He comes out, he does his job, he makes sure everybody's smiling, upbeat kind of kid, and he takes his craft super serious. Like, he takes punt. I watched him punt. He has these little meta glasses thing. And so he's always recording himself and then uploading it for content and stuff like that. So I watched him kick all summer long. And then he actually wore the little meta glasses out to our scrimmage the other day. He's like, Coach, can I wear them? I was like, yeah, man, get you some good content. Just don't put our plays out there. He was like, oh, I wouldn't do that. But nah, Jacob, man, he is just a joy to have. I'm gonna enjoy every opportunity that I have with him this year. This is his last year, so I really got to enjoy my guy because when he's gone, I don't think there's too many people on earth that are made like him. And that goes for Maston too, Maston and Hayden. That little trifecta is what I call them. Them dudes really care about this team. They care about K-Dub. They care about each other, and they want to see each other all succeed. So having that group is really special.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about some offseason moves that you made. You added a couple of offensive line coaches. Can you talk about some of those personnel changes, those staffing changes,
Yeah.
and what they've been able to bring to the team?
Oh man, yeah, it was man, Miss Katie it was a lot of changes that happened on my staff. It was, guys got better opportunities and then, at the end of the day, it's one of those deals to where everything was kind of stagnant. So we made a few changes here and there, but just starting on the offense side of the ball, our offensive coordinator, Coach Payton, I've known him since I think I was like 12. So my first job was working for the Louisville Fire and I was the equipment manager and he played for the Louisville Fire. So that's where I first met him. But he has been coaching football probably longer than half of our players have been alive. So just bringing in that old vet presence over there, just leadership. He's a military guy, so we're very rank and file with how we do things offensively now. Everything has a rhyme, everything has a reason. And then you talk about after him bringing in Coach Ebohair, Brandon Ebohair. He's from Owensboro, came from Oklahoma Panhandle State. Young dude, very excited about what he does, very meticulous about what he does, and honed in on the things that I ask him to do. You bring in Coach Jacob Bryson. Coach Bryson, man, that dude is like a little brother to me now. Probably one of the, like I said about Jacob, Coach Bryson is genuinely one of the greatest human beings on earth. I don't know, the way he cares about our players, the way he cares about our program. You'd have thought he went to school here or he'd been working here for like as long as I have. So it's so refreshing to be around that dude. Then you bring in Coach Tyrone Young Sr., my dad. So I'm really excited about a lifelong dream of mine. My dad moved up here from Texas to come. I called him. I said, Dad, I need some help. I can't hit rock bottom like that again. And so he was, you call your dad is gonna come running. So he's helping out on offense. So getting those guys dialed in. Coach Terrence Young, he was a 4-year starter for us. Now he's coaching our tight ends. It's always nice when you can grow them in your program. And then we hired Coach Morrissey, my D-line coach. Man, that dude is a ball of fire. He brings in so much good ideas. If you ever met anybody from New Jersey, he's from New Jersey. That's what I'll tell you. He's about his business. He'll crack a joke every once in a while, but he is football through and through. Every time I walk into his office, he's watching something to try to get better at his craft. And it's paid dividends with that veteran D-line group that we have. With Tion Curry has taken a jump being around Coach Morrissey. And, those guys have gotten so much better. Coach Haddock did a really good job, and Coach Morrissey just enhances that. So I'm really excited about all the changes, bringing in a bunch of new guys, to operate. And then you talk about Coach Raymond Jackson, who was a all-conference player for 4 years in the GMAC. I promoted him to associate head coach and co-defensive coordinator. He's going to run the defense when I got head coach stuff to do. And he is a rock star in his business. So being able to have that staff along with bringing back Keyshawn Walker and Brendan McGuire, I have a really good staff, and I'm really, really excited about us being able to get into the teeth of it and getting the game planning, and being able to go out and execute these game plans.
Well, when you talk about all that excitement, there can be nothing better than when toe meets leather on opening
Man,
night or opening day. You guys get Kentucky Christian. It's a short week for you all. It's going to be a Thursday opener for you guys. How does that change, or how does that? How do you prepare for a week one like that, where the week might look a little bit different than it will the rest of the season?
I think the thing that helped us out is we've been back since July 31st, so we kind of got a plan on how we're going to operate that week, to be able to keep their bodies fresh. But I think it's going to be a normal game week for us. We're really excited about the opportunity to go out to Grayson and play. You see that jersey right there? So that's a Kentucky Christian jersey. So my guys are pretty excited to go out to my alma mater.
Well, and I wanted to ask you about that as well. Obviously, seeing that you're gonna match up against your alma mater personally, what does that mean for you to be in your fifth year at the helm at Wesleyan and get to go back and play a familiar foe? I think it's always special. You have that special tie no matter where you went, and no matter how long you've been away to your alma mater.
Yeah, I love KCU. I always love KCU. That's where I met my wife. It's where I grew up as a man. There's a lot of special people out there. But yeah, it's one of those things. So 6 years ago, they offered me the head coaching job, and I stayed here. And then the next year, I got the head coaching job here. So it was kind of divine intervention and fate, or whatever you want to call it. So it's gonna have a lot of yeah. It's gonna be an emotional day for me until we kick off. And then, when we get to campus and when we get in that locker room, and their locker room, the locker room that we're gonna be in is in the same building I met my wife in. So, like you talk about nostalgia, so it's gonna be pretty cool. It's gonna be pretty cool. I know they're excited. They had a really good season. They keep me involved with all the alumni stuff. Even though we're going to play them, I just told Coach Aubrey, the head coach, when we signed the contract, that I need an alumni package because I ain't got one in a while. So I need my new gear when I get there. No matter how the game goes, I still need my stuff. That's my school. So I'm excited, and I get to see, like, we had teams moms out there. I get to see Mama Bondurant, somebody who helped me grow up from a young knucklehead into being able to get baptized and everything else out there. So yeah, it's gonna be a great day.
Well, I know you're excited. I know the guys will definitely be excited. I think one of the other things I wanted to ask you about is we talk a lot about upperclassmen, and I think that it has, that has changed, and how long those folks are on campus and how long they stay in college is different than it was a decade ago. But I think your upperclassmen and your seniors are naturally your leaders because they're people that have been around, whether it be at Kentucky Wesleyan or just around college football. They had that experience. In your fifth year, it means that you've seen a senior class go from freshmen to seniors already, and now you've got a new class coming in. But how does this senior class maybe compare to some of those other classes that you've seen come through? And you've gotten to see some of these guys, or most of these guys, grow up from freshmen to seniors, the ones that have been around for 4 years.
Yeah. So how was it different? Is this class last year's class was special, but this class was the first class like that we truly went out and got to put our teeth in recruiting. And so this was the first class to ever believe in me as a head coach and want to come play for me. So it means a whole lot more. Like me and I call him two, but Brogan, me and Cam Brogan, our relationship is really close. It's like almost like telepathical type stuff. Like I can know what he's thinking, and he knows what I'm thinking, and he knows how I operate. Peyton Stafford's, the same way. I thought there's not a time that we don't see each other and tell each other that we love each other. These are just my guys. So senior day this year is gonna be a rough one. I'm a big emotional teddy bear. I'm not like all these other coaches that try to act tough all the time. I love my kids. And Josh Noble, JT Sims, Will Ray, all those guys, man. They believed in something. They believed in a vision. And has it always went our way? No. But they steadfast and, held strong. And now, they're going to reap the benefits of it when we have a good senior year for those guys.
Well, Coach, last question. What is your message to the Panther faithful? What can they expect when those guys take the field this year? And what do you hope, Kentucky Wesleyan faithful see when those guys take the field for the first time at home?
You know, we play William Joy here September 12th at home. When our fans come out, they're going to see exactly what all this excitement that I keep talking about is. I'm a big believer in show me, not tell me. So I'm not going to tell them anything. Show up and you'll see the work that these guys have put in. I think it is a credit to them and how much they care. And so at the end of the day, every year is a different year. One bad year is not going to define who we are as a program. It hasn't changed anything with how we operate. It's just made us better. If it changed anything, it's made us better. To see, the other side of the coin and learn where our own failures were from. So we can go out and have success. So to Panther faithful, come out, watch our kids play. I think they'll be very pleased with the product that they see on the football field.
Well, Coach Young, we certainly appreciate your time today. I loved hearing about all the excitement that you have for Kentucky Wesleyan football. We're excited for G-MAC football to be back, and it'll be here before we know it.
Go G-MAC. I'm always cheering for everybody in the G-MAC except for when we play them. Other than that, it's G-MAC versus the world, baby.